Yep, I'm 7 o'clock. This is the October 14th meeting for the Jamaica Selectboard. First order of business is to call for any late additions to the agenda. You have one?
Well, I just want to talk about the wireless stuff, but that's a brief.
All right, I'll put you down for the wireless. Right, any others? I have two that have come in since I've published the minutes. One is we have a liquor license that arrived that we need to get signed. It's a liquor license, we'll talk about it at the time, it's a routine item. Another one is, I think we may have an executive session for personnel issues, and I'll tag that at the end of the session after we get the rest of the business done. The second order of business is approve the minutes of the September 23rd Select Board meeting. They were distributed electronically and they're available. Do I have any questions? Questions, deletions, corrections, additions? I have one, if I may.
Always, yeah.
You may.
Wouldn't be right.
Meeting if
No.
we didn't.
She only puts these on here so that I have to pay attention. On page 2, last sentence, Tom said he spoke with Sheriff Anderson and that they could not get the data. Could we say what data they could not get?
They cannot get the data from the speed radar machine
Thank you.
that was
What
located
number is that on?
on Depot Street.
Second page, last item under 11.
Late spring or this summer.
So we just put in from the radar speed machine?
Yeah, I think that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what it was, I just
Radar
wanted to put it in
speed
minutes.
And it's our May, June, late May, early June.
I've seen that machine traveling all over the
It
roads,
was on Route 30 for a while.
just going down the road.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as modified.
Second?
Do we have a motion and a second? Do we have any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? They are accepted as amended. Thank you, ma'am. And Ken? Next item of business is to approve the time sheets for the town office, solicitors, highway, and transfer station, and sign the select board orders 3 and 4. We generally do that at the end of the session so that we don't keep everybody here unnecessarily. But, so I've added, between 4 and 5, I've added the liquor license renewal application from the 3 Mountain Inn. I've been told that because of the nature of their business, they have to do this every 6 months, because I know we just did it recently.
They just chose to do it for 6
They
months
chose it for
instead
doing-
of the full year.
Okay. And so, there's nothing that I've recognized as being changed at all. So we just have to, all 6 of us sign it.
Motion? You need
I
a motion?
move-
Yes.
I move that we work on the liquor license, or are we approving it right now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that we approve the liquor license for the 3 Mountain.
Second?
Got a second? Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. We will get this signed, and I'll put it with the signature things we did this afternoon, this evening, and then we'll just sign it routinely. Next item of business, discuss a temporary appointment to the WRMUED board. We have as a guest, Joe Weinrich. Did I pronounce it right?
That's Whitney.
Winrich, sorry, we have to start over again.
No.
And introduce yourself, please.
I'm Joe Winrick. I'm a resident of Townsend, and I am the chair of the West River Modified Unified Education District Board. And, you know, the way this appointment works in our understanding is that our board, in consultation with the select board of the town, where the representative comes from, makes the appointment that's effective until your next town meeting, where you would then elect somebody to fill the rest of the the term vacated by the resignation of Christina Robinson. So we need somebody. We've got 2 letters of interest that I've forwarded to you. And, you know, I do know one of the people, as she's been on boards before and I've worked with her. The other one is absolutely unknown to me. So, you know, I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts, any input you wanted to give us. I'll carry that back to the board, and we're hoping to make our appointment so that we can have full representation again at our next meeting, which is next Monday.
Excellent. Did I send these out to everybody?
No.
It's been kind of a crazy week. I apologize. They're quick. Let me read them to you. The one is from Marianne Bouchard. And she says, hello, my name is Marianne Bouchard, and I live in the town of Jamaica, Vermont. I am interested in the position on the school board. I currently have 2 children who attend the Jamaica Village School. Rhiannon is my youngest and the only pre-K student. Chloe Karras is in kindergarten. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing those names. Both share the same teacher and classroom. Now, I'm extremely passionate about early education. Both of my girls are just delayed developmentally. However, I couldn't be more impressed with the Jamaica Village School and the enormous help they have been to my husband and myself with getting our girls off to the best start possible. I would love the opportunity to work and advocate for the Jamaica School and the fantastic kids and teachers in my community. Then she gives her cell number and tells us how to get a hold of her. The other letter we have is from, Marianne Bouchard lives on Pikes Falls Road, just before the South Hill goes up the hill, right there in the corner.
Where?
Pikes Falls heading up towards Pikes Falls. Just before you break up to go up South Hill Road, there's a house on the left-hand side.
Okay,
The
yeah.
last one there.
Yeah. So the other person we have is from Jennifer Jordan Duquesne. Dear members of the board, it is my understanding that a position for a Jamaica resident board member is open on the board. I would like to be considered to fill the position for the remainder of the term. I believe that my former position as chair of the Jamaica School District Board will help to bridge the knowledge gap and to help facilitate communication within our community as we move into the new board structure. I would like to be appointed to fill the position until the end of the term, at which time the voters of Jamaica will elect the position to be filled. Thank you for your consideration, and I look forward to hearing from the board. Respectfully, Jennifer Jordan. Those are the 2. We had a third one, but she dropped out. So those are the 2 we have that have evidenced some interest. Do we have any thoughts?
I'd like to thank both of them for coming forward. It's great to have 2 applicants.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you to both for their interest. Yeah,
It looks like a tough job.
Yeah.
It has its challenges.
yeah. You have a thought?
I think myself for continuity between the Jamaica board and going to this board, that Jennifer would be a very strong representative for us. So I would nominate her.
Any other thoughts?
I move that we nominate Jennifer Jordan Duquesne.
I think that,
Position.
I think Jennifer's continuity, as you mentioned, will be very helpful because she already speaks the language and knows the history. Marianne, I hope, will be involved, and I think that would be kind of the consensus of the board. I don't know if we need a nomination to do this. I think the smart move would be to do it anyway.
I make a motion.
Yep.
I'll
And
second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of nominating Jennifer to the what is it? Westboro Modified Youth District. So you got to be sure because you can remember how to say it. Anyhow, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Now Jennifer, you have to practice saying that. Okay, thank you very much.
Speaking of that,
Yes.
we had a rule
Right.
several years ago that abbreviations or letters were not
I know.
acceptable. And I think this is a perfect example of our issue.
It is exactly,
I
and
had absolutely no idea what that meant
What?
when I was reading Friday the minutes, or not the minutes, but the agenda.
yeah.
So I really recommend highly.
I apologize for that.
Back.
Because I'll piggyback this apology on the one where I forgot to send all this stuff to you, because I thought you would have this at hand and then you'd be able to, but that's my fault.
But on all,
Mea
of them,
culpa, mea culpa.
on all of them, not
Oh,
just.
no, I concur, you're exactly right on that one. Because I think the next one is gonna be the same, but the next one is gonna be trickier because I didn't explain what those were either. Anyway, thank you very much. Please, Marianne, keep in touch with the school, and I'm sure that they can use all the help they can get. It's gonna be a rough year.
It's nice that she has
Yes.
interest.
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll find a way to use her.
Oh, well, yes, we'll let go unused. All right, thank you. The next item we have on the board, thank you, sir. You can hang around if you want, or you can.
I don't need to. We'll let you know what happens at our meeting. We're going to interview both candidates
Okay,
and,
good.
then make our appointment.
Sure.
And, we have your thoughts and,
Excellent. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, thanks.
Take care.
The next item of business is 6, and I'll start out apologizing. RFP, we're gonna discuss, the temporary appointment. No, we just did that. Oh, the report from the Mill River Committee on the RFP, which stands for, we all know that one, Request for Proposals, and an MOU, which is a Memorandum of Understanding. You, sir, have the floor. Introduce
And I'll
yourself.
gladly speak if you'd like, and you can,
Who would like the floor?
I'll take the floor.
Okay.
And Michael will chime in where I missed it. So just, part of this was just to give a quick update of where we're at with the mill committee, and this is the mill of the Old Town Garage, or the Cheney Mill, or it's coming under several names, but we're calling it the mill. And the roof work that was required to be repaired on it. The bid that we had before, was unable, Asa, who had been contracted for that, was unable to fulfill it due to his, not being able to get workers' comp insurance and be able to find employees to help, so. And I've spoken with him today too, he's not going to rebid, but hopefully we have several, or at least one. I've been working with VLCT also, the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, on the insurance issues of how we move forward. They suggested reviewing the bid, maybe if it's fitting, contingent on them reviewing it just to make sure it fits in and that we don't get into some similar situations. But anyways, that's one issue, but quickly prior to that, I wanted to give an update. The temporary work on the roof has been done. The hole that was in it last summer has been repaired, but we're obviously wanting to get a new metal roof on there before this winter. The group has been meeting monthly. There's a small committee, and we're working toward establishing a separate independent nonprofit to be able to go out and seek grants and fundraise for the rehabilitation of the building, and then moving it forward into more of a community center. It's yet to be defined what it would actually be used for, but minimal impact type usage. Let's see what we've also been working on a memorandum of understanding with the town that we will hope to have in a draft mode for our next meeting, to how this group will work within the town structure. Outline it then. I don't get into that too much as of now. I think that's it. We did have one, we've had one other person, John Curland, if we step back, maybe 6 months ago, the board here approved a small committee of people, with me being the board representative, with a number of other town volunteers. But John Curland, who has been very engaged with the group and wants to be nominated, voted on, formally approved, or whatever it might be, to be part of this board and be a voting member. Part of that is because we need to fit within the open meeting law structure, but he's also been attending every meeting, and we thought that would be best for us to make sure that we've always had majorities and things like that. And so far, we've not had any formal decisions, we've not spent any money, any of that kind of stuff, but there will be, when we come forward down the road, we will be suggesting things that the town will need to be signing off on. So that would be my first thing. I would like to make a motion to nominate John Curling as an additional member to our standing board. Right now it's myself and Michael, Karen, Greg Jolly, and Peter Andrews are on the board. Or on our sub-board, or whatever you want to call it. So.
Do we have a motion? Do we need a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Why are we doing that? It's not,
Well, because it's a subcommittee of
It's a
us.
subcommittee of ours.
Yeah,
I'm just-
yeah.
Which
No,
means
good
that-
question, good question.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
And
you
we
were-
could just have him come on.
I thought you were
but
separate 401 or 501c.
We will be forming a separate 501c. We're working with,
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Escobar.
Escobar.
Okay.
So he's helping us draft the bylaws and things like that for our
So
group.
at that point,
At that point, we will then only come forward where we need decisions made that would impact the town.
So would that make you independent then from the board, this board? On being on your own 501c3?
Most likely, I think that's how it would go.
I
We
think
probably
it
have
is.
to ask the VLCT. I mean, we envision that the town maintains ownership of the building and control of that aspect of it, and that we are then just authorized to move forward with the restoration and the programming.
And I think that would be kind of built into the MOU,
Right.
the memorandum of understanding between those guys and us.
Right.
So we clarify the financial pieces. the
Financial,
Yeah,
insurance side of it.
That's
those-
important because a 501c3 is a stand-on alone.
Exactly, right.
Place.
And we felt that made more sense because of our ability to go forward and fundraise and things like
so
that.
in many ways, a model like the Arts Council where we use the town hall, we have a memorandum of understanding with the town, but we are a separate 501c3 and manage our own money and have our own events. So we do similar.
Right. Yeah, and this would be just one added layer because we'd be actually doing construction, so to speak.
And I think as long as we're within the MOU, memorandum of understanding, gives you a lot more freedom, flexibility to do stuff without having to come here every 2 weeks to tell us what you're
Sure,
doing.
right, exactly, right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this was a small formality we thought made sense, just to have John officially recognized as part of this.
Sure, thank him for us.
And I guess we have the motion we've got.
But we still,
We're still discussion, yeah.
Any further discussion?
So the building is our responsibility. Is that what you're
We're
saying?
still drafting some of those, but that's more or less how it would be the
In other
town's
words, if we put
responsibility.
heat, if you wanted heat in that building,
We would be paying for it.
you would be paying
Right.
for it, okay.
Yeah, I think the only thing we're probably would come forward to ask for is that the town maintains ownership, so we don't have to start working at the real estate deal and that type of thing, but also that the town would maintain the insurance on it through its current policy through the
The
PLC.
umbrella we have with the LCT.
Right.
And that's where this MOU comes in, is to get
Yeah.
these questions,
Right.
that very legitimate questions, down in writing before we move too terribly fast forward.
And I was in a 501c3 where we had a big building
Yeah.
that we were in, and they actually do the same thing that you're talking
Oh,
about.
good, then you guys have been through this, will be very
Yes.
valuable in our discussions when that
Yeah.
comes. Excellent. All in favor, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank him for us, he is now a member of the.
Okay, yeah, thank you, and I think that's, I mean, unless I missed something, on the update, but I think right now, we formally have to open the bids, and then contingent on just a review by VLCT. And we had gone about, and at the VLCT's suggestion, we went back to ASA, to ask if he wanted to re-bid it
Yeah.
based on the fact of him getting, workers' comp insurance, and he felt that even if he got it, he wouldn't be able to find employees, so.
Yeah, okay.
So
All right, thank you. Shall we open?
Sure, yeah, and I know I've had several people that contacted me for more information, so I was hoping to get at least a couple, but,
Well, we got one so far. And that one
and I'm
is
thinking, yeah,
from, oops. We have a letter from Primo Roofing in West Rutland, down in Jamaica. I have been I haven't been able to make copies for you guys, so I'll just read the highlights. The item is corrugated roofing panels. Skip the quantity, go right to the amount, $5,600. 1/7/8 inch self-tapping gasket screws for another couple of 200. Rake edge for corrugated metal, $525. Miscellaneous flashing pieces, $350. Rooftop guard underlayment, $1,000. And the taxes at $462, which I think we are tax exempt, are we not?
Yeah, probably.
So that may
And
help
501c3 is tax exempt.
in the town.
this would be fitting under the town to actually do the roof through the
Yes.
insurance.
Because right now, the MOU doesn't exist, and so we're still the direct owner. There's another approximately $6,000 for removal and disposal of materials. It's like stripping the roof and something. Anyway, contract price, $12,025.75. All carpentry work done on a time and materials basis at $35 per hour per laborer. Then there's, Primo Company is so confident in the quality of our workmanship that we guarantee it for the life of your new roof system. The materials are covered by manufacturer's warranty, however, our guarantee protects all aspects of our installation process. Payment to be made as follows: 50% down, final payment due upon completion.
How
So-
many years?
Huh?
How many years are they saying?
For the life of the system.
Yeah, but you don't know how many years.
The metal is what, 15, 20 years?
I have no idea, it just says for
We would
the,
say whatever the materials were, that's usually 15, 20 years from metal.
The metal roof is usually more than,
Is it?
it's
Yeah.
usually closer
Yeah.
to.
Oh.
Right.
so, the
That's why I
final,
asked.
the final math on this is,
Because I'm going through that right.
subtotal $26,195.23.
Plus $35 an hour, open-ended.
Well, you're right, it
Was
does.
that in addition to?
Time and,
I'd like to know about,
That needs to be defined, I think, too.
yeah,
Was that included in, did they estimate the number of hours to do it, or was this time and material over those hours?
they are under the heading of installation of materials, contract price, all carpentry work done on a time and materials basis at 35 per hour per layer. That's the question perhaps we could get clarified.
Yeah.
With the
Most
estimated
certainly,
amount of hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my understanding, as I read, or as I'm reading it, is that it looks to me to be lumped into that 12,000 I gave you. 43.73 SF, I would say,
Square foot.
square foot, but I think there's,
So the building's 40 by 60, but with the pitch of the roof, I'm not sure.
yeah, so it comes out to 275 apparently per square foot. And these are some questions that should be clarified.
Yeah, could I recommend that we each get a copy of that so we can
Yep,
go
we'll
over
get
it
that
and
for you
then we can
tonight.
discuss it
Yeah.
after we looked over it?
Then he has other information in the package, that some drawings and a photo, and a copy of the certificate of liability insurance.
That's
So
key.
we'll get this copy tonight, and you guys can all have a copy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? I can be forgiven for not giving it to you beforehand, can I please?
Yes, on that.
Okay, I'll do that.
That's just open.
Yeah,
zoning comp from him,
Yep.
zoning workman's comp from him.
No, we definitely would need that too.
What's that?
We would need their workers' compensation certificate. also.
Yes, well, the liabilities, those
What's different?
Yeah, sometimes
it's
they're both
different.
on the same page.
Right.
Should be two X's on it if it's got both.
Workers' comp, yes. Yep, it's on there. Okay. So
And
I
I'd
get
say
copies
that
also.
we need to, I mean, I don't know the formality of, we're obviously not gonna accept it right off, but to step back and have it kind of run through by VLCT and also
Sure.
have each of you kind of go through it too. I would suggest we put it on the meeting agenda for our following meeting.
I think
I mean,
so.
we were kind of moving this somewhat quickly once we found out that our existing contract wasn't gonna be able to be fulfilled. We were kind of moving it somewhat quickly, just with hopes of getting it done this fall. And that's, I'm hoping that that's, I mean, that was kind of voiced, but I don't know if that's what their plan is, but anyway, so I think though, if we wait till next meeting, we're still within. the-
Still within the window, I think so. Yeah, I don't see anything in here about a time specification about when they want to start or how long it's gonna take to do it. But maybe upon a little more in-depth perusal, we can get that information out of there.
Okay.
So, thank you, Primo.
So I guess I don't know if officially, I mean, since it was a bid opening process to make the formal motion that we table this for review to the
Sure.
next meeting.
Yeah, that's effective, and what we're gonna do is just do that. We're gonna get some more information, we'll get it all sent to everybody, and we'll pick it up again next meeting.
But first base, I mean, it's great to get somebody and I'm sure they're reputable and let, you know, we'll see where the cost kind of settles in based on what their numbers
Yeah,
are.
and this gives us time to do some research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent, all right, thank you.
I have a question.
Yep.
There is a portion of the roof that needs a sort of a quick temporary repair. Is that figured into this, this particular bid?
That I don't know, if it's actually written in there. I think the RFP went out based on just redoing the metal roof with the assumptions based on our assessment. I mean, we have done an assessment through the the preservation trust that the building was structurally sound. But based on that, we were anticipating not needing too much underlaying work, but there is one spot that definitely would need it.
Is there a general timeline for this construction? Is this like, is this a next year project?
No,
Is this-
our hope and my conversations, I had spoken with them, would be this fall, but that was not written into the RFP. I don't know if it's written somewhere into their
I didn't see
And some
it.
of it would be, I mean, the next step, once we go through this and let's say we accept it, then the next step is to come up with a contract that's acceptable to the timing and things like that.
Exactly. I think the only timeline that I can recall was built into the grant.
Well, the insurance money's had a 1-year time, and I've spoken with them, because of our situation, that has been.
That's okay. I didn't mean grant, insurance money. Yeah.
So there would be no need for any temporary repair or anything like that if this
If
happens?
it's done this fall, right, yeah.
Yes, thanks for, that's my question.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Good. All right, so we can, I'll get this stuff to you this evening, do a little bit of that. Next order of business is update on the recent changes in the transfer station contract order.
That's me too. So I don't know if many of you several may have heard, TAM was bought out by Casella. TAM is our current hauler for our recyclables and trash. Basically, all the contracts that are out there are going to be fulfilled as they are through Casella, and then at that point we would work on the contracts independently. So nothing really changes there. Trevor, who, the owner of TAM, is actually now an employee of Casella, so he's still going to be our contact and whatnot, still working for them. So really, more or less, that was just sharing some information because he had just reported that at the last meeting for the Wyndham Solid Waste. And then the other thing, just as more of a heads up that came up at this meeting also, is that several years ago, and I don't know quite the history, Judy may know a little bit more, but there was about 100 containers, those roll-off containers that were owned by the Wyndham Solid Waste District, and then they were doled out on loan to all the member towns.
Right.
So we are using those. They're starting to get to the end of their life expectancy, and some of them are starting to be pulled back due to, that they're falling apart basically. So the Wyndham Solid Waste District is working on a plan for those, but that may be something that we need to integrate into a budget for next year, that we may need to purchase 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, I don't know. So just more of a heads up on that, so that's that.
Thank you.
When is our contracts up,
I believe we have another couple years on it. It was a
Yeah, I think it
long-term
was a
contract. It was
3-year.
3 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
still have
We're
time.
just a little bit into it. Maybe we're halfway through it. It might be a year and a half.
I think that it is
Yeah.
about halfway.
Yeah.
Just curious when we would have to renegotiate.
Right, right.
It may be good to start thinking about what that's gonna cost, and then when we start doing the budget process next month, we can start maybe budgeting a piece every year or so,
Mhm.
rather than all at once.
Right, yeah, for the containers.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
What was Wyndham Reach, was Brattleboro supplying those? Is that what you said, the containers?
So initially, I think they were all owned by the Wyndham Solid Waste
Right.
District, and they loaned them out.
Right.
Gave them to us more or less, at no fee, that kind of thing. And so they're still trying to work through how they're set up as, their assets. I'm guessing they're probably all depreciated by now, they're not worth anything
Yeah, I think
anyway.
some of them are, for example, where the garbage is.
Yeah, they're every
That's
one of those
what,
containers,
yeah.
the recyclables, just about every one of them is,
I remember them, when I was involved in that, talking about them starting to fail
yeah.
and them being scattered all over, and it didn't sound like
Right.
they were gonna replace them.
Well,
I
I know ours,
remember, and keep us supplied on that.
ours are
Because
rotten
everything's changed
really
anyway.
badly.
Yeah, they're all starting to go. And there's no real, some of the issues of who has what, and they all are numbered, they were all assigned specifically to a town, but we don't always get the same one back, obviously, because they drop off one, pick up another one. So who pays for the ones as they fail is one of the questions that's out there.
Gotcha.
I have to say, I am concerned about TAM being bought by Casella, just for what that's worth.
Yeah, they are a much bigger company. Trevor was there, he still works for them, says that he's gonna be our hands-on point person. But I agree with you, there's always this uncertainty when something changes.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Keep us in.
Okay.
All right, the next item, discussion on the, continued discussion of questions to be addressed at the water project town meeting. Tom's provided a water project FAQ, frequently asked questions, for the website.
It's posted on the website in multiple locations, so you want to check it out before the meeting tomorrow.
And as noted, good job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess I mentioned this to well, I'm sorry. I know Tom and I have talked about it, and Paul and I have too. One of my things, a concern, I guess, is that we provide the information, have access to information. I think we're pretty well educated on, but just, I know VHB, without a name.
There is no name to VHB there.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, this is an aside, at the Vermont League of Cities and Towns meetings, some of the members, there was other people there that aren't working on our project, but they're a bigger engineering firm, and there's other people there that on their name tag, there was something that VHB stood for, and I just kind of chuckled.
Oh, yeah.
After they said that doesn't really stand for anything. But
Exactly, that's what they told me.
That's an aside. So VHB, we all know, is the contractor that we've chosen, if we move forward with our water projects, that would be doing the work for us. But I know they're gonna be there to give a presentation, but I'm not sure what other presentations, so to speak, and we don't wanna have a big dog and pony show, but just that all the information is presented so that the public that's there has full knowledge, and vote with full knowledge.
Sure. As of 4 o'clock this afternoon, we have VHB is going to do a slideshow presentation. Chrissy Haskins, she's from Dufresne, but she's not coming as a Dufresne engineer, but she's coming as a member of the community. And Chris Kempy's not able to make it, he has another conflict that's come up, so he's sending, I believe her name is Hesta, I don't know her personally, but she's a senior planner there. So she'll be there tomorrow. So we'll have a representative from WRC to talk about their end of it. I have talked with Lydia, who is with VHB, about the issues of the planning kinds of things, and I've talked to Chrissy, so that there is going to be some discussion about the money end of it.
Perfect.
And how to somehow finance this.
Because there's certainly a lot more experts out there than us, so I didn't want us to be in front of the group and try and answer questions.
Sure. They're both very well versed in this. And so.
Are there going to be questions from the audience?
Yes, the plan will be a VHB presentation. Then it'll be open for questions.
Okay.
But we have Chrissy and we have WRC and us there to respond to the questions as best we can. Yes, sir.
We're gonna answer all the questions maybe pertaining to the downside or who's gonna answer the questions? Like, is our treasurer gonna be there?
She will not. I'm getting from her.
I understand there's plenty of, gonna be all information about, going through with it, but are we gonna be able to answer hard questions about maybe the negative or possible negative impacts?
We are all going to be able to answer questions. The money issue, she is going to crunch some numbers to give us some ballparks.
Okay.
We don't know. We had a very good presentation sent to us by a member of the planning commission, but because it's not based on any known numbers, they're just some ideas, it's not as useful as people would like.
I think he's got good numbers about what this portion of the project will cost,
Perhaps.
but the rest of the project being something
Well,
more.
the numbers about how much it will cost us, Terry can tell us how much $200,000 spread across the whole,
Right.
the whole town will cost us,
Right.
depending on our size of our houses. She's giving me that list tomorrow.
Okay,
so
that's all
I'll-
I'm asking, because I don't know.
No, see,
I
the
didn't
hardest,
know that either until a few days.
There's so many unknowns.
Right,
Yes.
no, but we have,
We can answer the questions about
should be a little balance here.
what the scope of the project is
Yeah.
for this. Now, what this means after this, and if there's a
Right,
phase
no.
3 or phase 4, we have no idea how much those are gonna
No,
cost.
I'm not asking about
yeah,
that.
But
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
asking about
the town's
this next meeting.
this
Yes.
next meeting tomorrow
Yes.
will be open for anybody. The way we're gonna have this is gonna be a town meeting format with Greg Jolly running it.
Okay.
He's going to turn it to me, and I'll make an opening statement, which basically hits the highlights of what we've all been talking about without getting specific. We will then turn to VHB for their slideshow, and then it'll be open for everybody, including us, to ask questions or to answer questions. We will expect it to be an active discussion, which is what we need to have. So,
Do we anticipate having a table structure? I know I brought this up because at last year's town meeting, people said they couldn't hear us. I would prefer and think it makes more sense that we're not on the stage,
Yes.
that we're able to interact with people, and so if,
Right.
I
I
don't
still
know,
think a
I don't
table
know the
setting is
plan
good,
for
but a
setting
table
up
in
the
front of
room
the
is,
stage.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
do you think that's gonna get better acoustics down,
Yes.
grounded up high?
Completely, I think we need to be down at the same level.
You can do that. Yeah, we can make that
we've
happen.
done that before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have done that before.
Yeah, I was thinking the voice, well, anyway, you're the art guy, so I'll take your word for it.
We have tables there. And I've talked to a lot of people and invited a lot of people to the meeting, so
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get.
Hopefully
I talked about it
lots
at the
of-
senior lunch.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll come.
And,
7 o'clock, if I can do a commercial,
Town hall.
7 PM tomorrow at the town hall.
Is it being taped?
No,
Why not?
we didn't ask him to.
Too late now.
Yeah, no, it wasn't part of the earlier request.
It's just another thing for people to look at.
True, and I think that would go that way, but I've had people say that they're not gonna talk if the camera's on. And so I
I
think.
was just curious, you know?
Yeah, we wanted to balance out to make sure everybody participated without camera shy being a factor.
Oh. Okay,
That's what we were talking about it originally.
The
and
vote
so-
is in fact tomorrow.
right.
It's informational then anyway.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any sort of,
That's
people
right.
watch this and then decide what they're.
Although, if it goes to a vote, it's not informational
That's what I'm saying.
only.
And then at the end of
So
which,
it's
when,
not that
when,
the information will be presented
Oh,
tomorrow,
Right.
then we
what
vote.
she said it was.
that's the other thing I was trying to say. After we make the presentations and answer the questions, there will be a vote. It will not be raise of hands, it will be a ballot. So everybody
Only
can
if somebody
participate.
requests it.
Well, 7
Sorry?
people.
Only
need
if
to
7 people
paper
request a
ballot.
paper
If 7
ballot.
people
Right.
request it, that's the way that has to be done from the floor.
We'll make sure.
And it will end when somebody on the floor asks for the vote to take place and their support to end the discussion. So I can't exactly speak to how long this is gonna last, but that's the procedure.
So there is a possibility that a vote may not be taken if it doesn't come from the floor, is that correct?
No,
If-
Yeah.
No, there is an
there
article.
will be a vote.
There will be,
There's a
let me
vote.
see,
There will
1,
be a
2,
vote.
3, 4, 5, 6. Can I count on anybody else to ask for a vote? We'll find 7. Because we need to move forward with this. We can't keep dragging this out.
I
And
think it's
again,
gonna be more important that we actually get the information out before somebody does call for a vote.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
that's my
again, the vote
concern.
is to authorize the select board to spend $200,000. So it's a large amount
It's
of
a
money,
very good.
which.
But in
we would-
2 phases.
Yes, but we
So
would
it's
encourage
important that one,
voters in the town to come out and vote what you want done with your tax dollars. So it's important that you show up if you can.
With the understanding that that $204,000 may not produce water
Right.
of sufficient quantity and quality.
That'll all come out tomorrow night. All I asked was we filming, before we filming. And if I had thought of it a few meetings ago, I was out of town,
Oh, yeah.
been unavailable, I would have asked that it be taped.
Okay. And we could have, I suppose. Busy, Rich? Never mind. But there were people who did come to me and said, I'm not gonna talk before if it's on camera.
And we also have big competition going for tomorrow night too, because the Democratic
Oh, there's a debate tomorrow.
debate is happening,
Sure.
so,
I had heard from people.
We'll show them when it comes to ratings.
Yeah.
I've heard from people they're upset because of that.
yes.
It's-
well, that's not at 9 o'clock, right?
What is
Is
that?
it not till 9?
The debates usually don't start.
Well, so we have to get out of there by
We got
9.
a couple hours.
You can't watch it on YouTube.
All right,
This day and age.
So anything else about how we'd like to the questions, any other questions? I think this is really good. It's not all inclusive, but it does speak to the big ones that were asked a lot, the most frequently asked ones. Thank you, thank you very much for that. Any other questions on that? All right, the next item of business is report on the Water Street Bridge inspection.
I can report on that.
Before you do that, we wanted to say something about the
Wireless, I just wanted to say, the September 12th meeting, select board had asked that we put a wireless password on the town office, Jamaica HF wireless, and I came into the office today and did that. So if town people are in the town office, just talk to Sarah or someone else in the office, and they can provide that password to you and to get onto the network. But it is closed, so we can't have people, stealing our internet in the parking lot. No, it's up to them. They all know. But just want to let you know that work has been completed.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
so we're more secure than we were 5 hours ago, whenever I was here.
And for those of you who were taking advantage of it previously, there has been so many instances of towns particularly being hacked or in one way or another having their system broken into in the last year or so, that I, who was in favor of having it open, flipped over and said, we really got to secure this. We have to secure our information.
And the point isn't to lock people out, because if you come to the town office, we will provide the password. It's just more for people who are not affiliated with the town coming in and saying, oh, look, there's open wireless, and I can get on and do whatever illegal activities, and we don't have control over that. So now we have a little bit more control over who gets access to this system.
Thank you very much. Okay, next item of business has to do with the Water Street Bridge inspection. It has come to my attention that there was an inspection conducted, I believe on the 2nd of October, I can't remember exactly, and that I have for you guys this is, again, we just put these out today, so I haven't had a chance to send them to you. There's two kinds of inspection data you have in your hand. It's a little confusing to me. I have one for you.
Printed my own.
I get chastised weekly for not having given her one. This did not come to me, nor did it come to the select board. So I kind of got this by way of Bob Stomsky, who sent this to me.
That's the Green Bridge.
The Green Bridge, we're talking about Bridge 32, which is the one that goes to the town state park.
State Park, right?
Yeah.
Not Water Street.
Why is
It's
it?
not the
What did I
Water
say?
Water Street. It's written here as Water Street.
I put in Water Street.
Water Street doesn't have
You could have corrected me, you're allowed to do
I
that.
don't know what streets it is.
Depot Street Bridge. I can't believe I wrote Water Street. Maybe it's a throwback to years ago.
So is this?
This is the Depot Street Bridge. This is the iron bridge
Okay,
Number 32 connects
gotcha.
to the state park property.
Because there are two bridges on.
Yes.
Thanks for making that correction and embarrassing me mercilessly. All right, so, there was it's kind of confusing. Do you have some more information on this, or how you got a copy of it too, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, no, I can say, well, I mean, no secrets here. Joel's been pushing this forward and trying to keep it at the top of the pile as far as the V-Trans goes. And they just sent it out to him. I don't know, maybe that was,
Because I requested it.
oh, okay. So he made a request for it. Why they didn't send it to us to begin with, I'm not sure. You know, obviously they just sent their inspector down here, didn't let us all know when we were asking to be at least alerted to when they were gonna be here. Not that we're gonna watch over them and tell them what to do, but I think all of us want this to stay high on the profile list of what they're working on and wanna learn from it. So that's how it came about. I mean, Joel went out and found it, like any one of us could go find it online and just requested it. I mean, this stuff is all available out there, and just
Well-
asked for it when we heard that they were here.
Well, actually, the one online, if you look at the packet they gave you, you get two,
Or maybe it didn't come online, but they sent it. As Joel just said, they sent it.
they sent it to Joel.
Yes.
because he asked for it.
Yeah.
But we didn't even know it was out there, so
We didn't
how
have
are we
any
not gonna, how are we gonna ask for it?
I thought we even requested that we be told
We
when they
did.
were coming.
We had asked that, right. And so we're a little frustrated, and I know Joel and I talked
Were you
about it.
there when they inspected? I'm curious.
I'm sorry?
Were you there during the inspection, or did you just find out about it after?
No, I'll tell you the occurrence. I had asked Jackie to, Casino to advise me, and she said the town should ask to be advised when it's gonna be done, and I asked to include me in the loop. Apparently they disregarded that, and I spoke to Jackie today, and she was surprised at that. I was actually on a hiking trail in Ireland when the engineer called me and said he was in the area, did I want to come by? And I said the airfare would be a little pricey, but he sent me the copy of the report, and then I sent it to Greg. So that's all I got.
And the three of us just, yeah.
You sent it to who now? You sent it to Greg and who else?
I sent it to Greg.
And.
Oh yeah, I sent the copy to the, Bob had asked me, so I sent the
Yeah,
copy.
yeah. Because everybody's curious. I mean, we're obviously like, wanna know what's going on?
When did we ask for a formal report?
Months ago.
Yes, you did
Who asked? Did you ask them?
Yes, I asked them to let us know ahead of time. I got an email saying that they will let us know as soon as it gets scheduled. I was very disappointed that we didn't hear from them.
Yeah, right.
And I'm a little disappointed that they, for whatever reason, it did not rise to the select board.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
This is a concern of mine.
Well,
But at any
I
rate,
think they were just negligent in not advising anyone. I mean, the fact that he came here, did the inspection, and called me,
how did he know to tell you?
I asked to be advised.
Did you ask to have the select board advised?
No, you
We
did
did,
that.
we already had it.
That was months ago.
Yeah, you did that.
Same with Joe, it was already months.
Well, I've been working on this continuously, so I said, make sure that we know about it.
They do these every 2 years.
Yes.
When I was road
Yeah.
commissioner, it's pretty much the same. I don't have the other one to compare to, but it looks
It
like.
looks almost the same. I
It's
mean, I-
very, very similar. I've got the other one upstairs if you want.
I've never seen the second part.
Well, the second piece, I was gonna say, you've got two pieces. One is the sheet we've all seen before, and the next 3 pages is something I'd never seen before until Bob Stonsky sent it to me. And this is the item, this is the, as I can tell, as I understand from the email tree that was sent to you, is that correct?
I just got an email about
The
it.
State of Vermont Bridge Inspection Form, this one's multi-page.
I've never seen one.
No, I didn't get that.
Where's this one?
I got a Word document with the actual report.
This report.
I have to see that later.
Well, they're pretty similar.
There's four pages were all attached with one email.
I didn't see this, I saw it. I saw this.
You didn't see this one?
No, I don't
This is the one you sent me,
know.
right?
Where did you get it?
This is the one that was attached to,
Yeah, this was part of their whole inspection.
yeah, is this, you got that from Joel?
No, you didn't get it.
That was the whole attachment.
I sent you that?
It was all.
There's
it was all that
another
one
bottom buried
document.
in there, I guess. But the bottom line is that we're all somewhat disappointed in this, and Joel and I have talked, and we're willing and wanting to make an appointment with some of the higher ups in Montpelier, and just, not necessarily to just go up there and express disappointment, but to say, I mean, this bridge is obviously important to us, and to just really keep it top of mind and put a name with a face and keep those guys, really make sure that we get the correspondence that we're looking for. And I think it's showing progress, or whatever you want to call it, that, you know, that last, you know, survey that we got earlier this summer, or midsummer or so, you know, it's on their minds, and let's just kind of keep it on their minds, is what I would say.
The question is why there's such a big discrepancy between this report and the Army Corps of Engineers report.
Yeah, because this one has moderate distress, moderate
Right. Well,
distress. I'm surprised.
This is almost the same report as they did in
It's a-
2015
Wow.
and 2017.
Yeah.
And basically saying it has to be cleaned and painted.
Do we have a copy of the Army Corps of Engineer report?
I sent it to you, but I'll,
From the Army Corps of Engineer?
yep. It's not this week. I had sent it to you in a package.
It was
He
part
gave
of that
that
packet. or whatever.
I sent you a whole
The same
package.
report as when they inspected this the last time.
Yeah, it's basically.
That hasn't changed, there's no new one.
I have something to say about their report. I believe it's biased, for one thing. I think that they had an agenda. I don't think, I know they did, because I talked to them all. I talked to the park supervisor, the Corps representative, and this was just my take on it, that they wanted to use their own bridge. And it would be to their benefit to say that the 32 was totally, they couldn't drive one of their trucks over, you know? I think that they gave their set of standards report, their look at it is a lot different than how V-Trans looks at it. And I don't understand why, personally, I'm sure the Corps of Engineers knows how to build a bridge, but they were gonna pay taxes on Bald Mountain Dam to Jamaica ever since they put it there, and they've never done that. Not that that has anything to do with it, but I'm not really too worried about what they say concerning us.
They
How much weight do they, no pun intended, how much weight do they have, you know, in determining, V-Trans has no, they don't know what they're talking about at all about the bridge?
Well, I think V-Trans is saying 8 tons, and I think the Corps wants to move bigger equipment over 8
But the
tons.
Corps has determined, and you got an email, I think Lou got an email, and also, what's her name, who was this, the clerk at the time, Pam, that it wasn't safe for the current traffic. They want to put big weight over it, and they need to put big weight over it to fix the dam. And they don't fill the dam because of the leak in the toe of the dam. So yes, they want to put big weight over it. But in that report, which you have, I sent it all in an email, I can send it again, they don't believe that it's adequate to support the current weight, which is way less than 8 tons.
But they wanted, my feeling is they were saying that so they could put their own bridge,
Move their agenda.
and put their own bridge in and not use that. Nor have us.
They don't
use it.
have any other place to put a bridge.
And on another note, all of those projects have been suspended. The spillway projects, they don't have any money right now. They're not worried about the dam leaking. You know, that's another thing. I'd be more worried about the spillway leaking than what they said about our bridge, but that's just my opinion.
Well, they're not worried about it, but they don't fill it.
There's other projects.
Yes,
The Corps
yes,
has,
a lot of-
they've canceled a lot of projects nationwide.
For money, because of money.
Right.
So they have to make compromises in the things that are defective, and one of the compromises they're making is that they don't allow the lake to fill.
So reducing its ability to.
That's not because of our bridge.
No, but.
No,
it's
that part
that's-
is not because of money.
So anyhow, I mean, I think that we do what we can to keep this moving, express our concern. I mean, that's where I was kind of coming at, just say that,
I guess my question is, who do we believe on
Well,
the
they
report?
should be justified to each other via V-Trans. Why is this report so much different than this report? I mean, they're all legitimate engineers. So how can one engineer come up with a report that says the bridge isn't strong enough to hold 4 tons, and another engineer come up with a report that says it should be painted?
Yeah,
Let them justify it to us.
yeah, until someone drops the 8 tons on there, they don't know what it's gonna hold up to. It's so much.
Well, usually ratings are
It's a
half.
guess in some ways. I mean, you don't know until it breaks.
When they talk about ratings, they talk about half of the actual weight that it would support. So in other words, if it was downgraded to 8 tons, it means they think it could hold 16 tons.
He told me, Pickering told me that.
what, exactly what Joel just said?
He said that I've said this several times, that he was sure it would hold what it's posted for and a lot more that's just on you guys, the town of Jamaica.
I would recommend that as long as we don't have a resident engineer, that we take the advice of the V-Trans engineers, since they're the ones who basically are the ones who are servicing the community.
And also, our road commissioner should be, is she exempt from being in the loop on all of these?
No, she was a little upset too. She couldn't make it tonight. She was called me and said couldn't make it, but she wants to be involved with this as well.
If we're gonna, like, throw some weight around or whatever we're talking about, then I think that the road commissioner should be in on that, but not that I'm not to contradict what Joel said, but I was at that meeting, and what was her name? The one who did the presentation tonight? I was at the...
Jackie Casino.
I thought she said she wasn't surprised he didn't call. Maybe I heard that wrong.
I didn't hear that.
Not surprising or something to that effect.
I'm not surprised that
That the inspector didn't call
us.
or him, or,
be there.
I'm not sure
Well,
about
the
it.
person who suggested that we had a comparison between the two reports was Jackie Casino. And she has no problem with me mentioning the name of
Okay, so we need to go forward with this, and we need to get in touch with
Yeah, we need to find out
We need to
what's
find out
going
what's
on.
Definitely.
Okay, all right.
it. And she also told me that it is not out of the question that they would rearrange their schedule if something was pressing. And it's been done many times.
What do you mean?
In other words, if we're not prioritized, but they're convinced that maybe we should be, they could rearrange projects
Right.
to move us up if we can establish the fact that it should be done.
Okay.
So what's our next step?
I will follow up on this next week and try to figure out where we're going with that, and try to chase this down. Okay, let's move on. Time for public concerns. Do we have a public concern? Yes, Bob. Identify yourself, please.
Bob Stamsky, Fire Chief, Jamaica Fire Chief. 2 weeks ago, we had another issue regarding two people using their GPS and going off track. This gentleman was 2.5 miles off of Kings Road. Kings Road is not a road, it's a trail. And I would like to see the town take more of a positive action in putting signage up at these roads that are not roads. Craven Lot is one, because every year we seem to end up with somebody driving in and continue on and on and on.
Right.
And Kings Road's the other one. Just give you a background on the Kings Road one. This gentleman got stuck in the mud and he was having a panic attack. So for rescue to go up, we went up West Hill Road, up to Dossage Pond, and picked up Kings Road and drove in. And I followed rescue and the ambulance in at the same time. We got as far as we could. And at that point, we couldn't locate the individual. It didn't look like anybody had driven in through there or not. So I proceeded with my truck and I took an EMT with me and we drove in for another 1.5 miles. Still not locating this individual. So we got a hold of Vermont State Police, who initially called us, told us that this individual was in there. We asked for a phone number and stuff, and they also pinged the tower and they said he was. So that meant we proceeded all the way down and around and up Dalewood to get in the other end of Kings Road. And I didn't realize Kings Road came out, but it comes out by this guy's house and driveway. So we proceeded to go in there, and I think within 5-10 minutes we located the owner of the vehicle and stuff and walked him out, which wasn't bad, but he was, a little excited and stuff. We brought him back down to the firehouse. The reason he went up that way is because somehow from Rawsonville, he wanted to get to Day Road off of Pikes Falls Road, and that showed him the shortcut.
Can I just, a little story?
Sure.
That's one of my customers where he came out. I had a Sherwin-Williams delivery van, a young lady, did the same thing with GPS, and she made it all the way out through there with the Sherwin-Williams van.
Wow.
Took her about
You
3
had 3
hours.
brooks to cross in there. This guy just went over some logs.
Well, this was 5 years ago, it might have been.
5 years ago,
better
it's
shape.
just recently, it's not fast enough.
So your suggestion is that we get in touch with the road commissioner and the road foreman to talk about putting up some sort of signage. I remember when I was first living up on Maui, there was a sign that says your GPS is wrong.
Right.
That was taken down, I'm sure somebody's got it in their playroom, someplace out of state. But anyway, that's something to consider. That would have to have us sort of inventory all the places.
Well, I mean, I think you could also just put a sign that says, this is not a through road,
Yeah.
do not, you know.
Maybe something not
Doesn't
through
even
road.
say anyone.
Just
Just
sign
sign
like that,
road.
There's, your GPS is wrong, and I've been with
Yeah.
my car and my GPS.
Turkey Mountain Road has the exact same
Yes,
problem.
yes, it does.
So,
You make it
At
all-
the Wyndham Regional meeting today, we got a presentation on exactly what
Right. on
you
the
just said.
Oh, you did?
That V-Trans is gonna try to map all the class 4 and town trails.
And town trails, even if they're not passing.
And they had some suggestions, I can't believe that this came up, because we just heard this, that he said you could put a sign up saying town trail or class 4 road not maintained, as a suggestion. But they're in the process of, the early stages of mapping roads that aren't even, they're not even visible. There's just trees and then at some point they'll be available for, it sounds like mostly for, they're doing it for the benefit of recreational use.
Sure.
Mostly.
Hiking trails and bike paths.
Mhm.
And they're starting with 3 towns, we're not one of them, but the guy knew about some
Yeah.
roads we have.
Well, this is a recurring issue. I mean, periodically, once or twice a winter, we have to go pull something
And
out.
are these the only 2 roads you can think of, Bob?
Craven lot, the Craven Road.
Craven Lot.
There's been the other one. I haven't heard much about Turkey Mountain Road being an
yes,
issue,
we
but.
get it
Bowery.
all the time.
Now where people come from either end and there's no middle.
There's no middle road. West Hill, there's no middle either.
Yeah, West Hill at both ends.
Yeah.
The only other option is to put something in the road itself, you know, a boulder or. But
Yeah,
yeah, you still get a trail to go through, but boulder, ballards or whatever, you know, it's. not
Let's get a conversation going with the road commissioner and the town foreman and the fire department.
Yeah, we just wanted to bring the issue up.
And start taking a look at that, because this is chronically.
Yeah.
There's been several times, just in the short time I've been on the department, where we've had people stranded out there. And in theory, it could be life-threatening in a winter situation.
There is another asset that Nugent, Mr. Nugent, who gave, Jeff Nugent, not Ted Nugent. Well, you guys don't remember him?
Cat scratch feet.
He may have some suggestions
Yeah.
as far as signage and.
Okay. Well, it's good that this, you're on top of it. See how quickly we get on top of it? You bring us a problem and we have people working.
Action,
That's the way it should be. All right, any other public concerns? Have another public?
Yeah, there was a meeting that I had mentioned about fiber optic communication on the 11th of September that I had attended, and then we reviewed it at the Community Development Committee meeting this past Thursday. And it was suggested that they could use as many town letters of support for fiber optic. The structure is that there is fiber optic around. There's fiber optic runs the whole length of Route 30, and of course it's always the last mile that's a question. And towns could, and fiber optic, technically, well, you would know that, it's 100 up, 100 down, whereas cable is 25 up and, 25 down and
you
3
get a
up.
lot more on fiber, you get gigs on fiber.
Which would be really important for people who telecommute. And so there's a big movement, and there's also, the governor provided funds for the development. And right now, I think we talked about this at the last meeting, I'm not sure. But there's $60,000 grants available for doing just feasibility studies for a town. And more likely, towns would get together to do this, to share, and they don't have to be contiguous towns. So in other words, after that meeting, Kelly Pagella approached me and asked me if I would meet with her and talk about possibly linking up towns. But probably it would be bigger than that. Probably it would be, there's one already organizing with about 20 towns where they're working together and seeking resources to provide fiber optic. This grant is not for building it, it's just for feasibility study. And of course, you'd have to be able to justify it. The thing that Sue Wister suggested was that, and she's the chair, she's the staff agent for Wyndham Regional at the Community Development Committee, that as many towns as possible, if as many towns as possible would send in letters of support for this, which involves no commitment, just that the town is interested in seeing the possibility of this develop, it would be helpful to bringing this a little further forward. So, that's it.
I've been following this in the paper, and I'm mostly lost by what's in the paper. Are you up on top of this?
No, I didn't see much on it. I read the paper and do the former, I didn't see much.
Yeah, I just see periodic things talking about this 5K, but it's, the stuff I've run across sounds like something advertise a company that's putting it up or something along those
There are
lines.
companies, it could be done with towns, with nonprofits, it could be done with private companies, and there is one company that's doing doing a project with a number of towns.
That may be the information I've seen.
Right.
Do you know if, you said Laura Sedalia, is she doing this through the SIDAC?
She's doing this, she's doing this she is working with Becca Ballant through the legislature
Right.
to pushing this, to
From the
pushing
other
it.
end.
Yeah.
Well, I probably put the cart before the horse, but what's the difference with like SV cable and what he's talking about?
So SV cable, it's the matter of bandwidth. So SV cable you can download 25 megabits.
40, I think, is their biggest package.
Okay,
40.
Okay, so that's the amount of data that could come down
When
from the internet at one time. But you can only upload 3 megabits, which means if you are communicating with the company that you're working with in Arizona or China, you have so much more. Watching television doesn't change.
No,
You have plenty of data to watch television.
I meant, how would that affect like their business, or would they be in
Well-
competition with?
they'd be in competition because they're both providing internet services,
Okay.
so,
Right.
yeah.
Right, so this would be more, SV Cable could administer this as well. And I like SV Cable, they're a great company, but this is in terms of community development and in terms of business development, would allow people to do actual commerce from their homes or from an office in the village or whatever.
Yeah, what they do is when they design cable networks and such, is more people want down bandwidth, so they give more bandwidth to pull things down, because people are streaming and watching TV and entertainment, and less going up. What the fiber is you just have a lot more capacity, you put a lot of data through fiber. I have fiber at my work, it's gigabit, which is 1,000 compared to, but he's talking about 100 compared to 25. So when you're talking that amount of data, and because it can pass, so much data can pass through the fiber, you can have that upstream as well. So they could have 100, so they get 100 down, let's say, and 100 up at the same time. So now they have two-way communications on an equal level versus what cable tends to be, or DSL or even VDSL, where your down is more than your up. And they're just optimizing it because, again, they're aiming toward the consumer market versus a business market.
So if you, very simplified, if you're sending an email to somebody, he doesn't have it like that. I know with SV Cable, sometimes I don't get an email that somebody says sitting next to me sent me.
When they're close, they don't.
It doesn't make sense.
It has to go up to
Right, it has to go up and back down.
But it's
So
pretty
I
fast.
might not get that email for 10 minutes.
Sometimes.
If I have a 100-page document that you have to react to, it would be virtually instant with fiber, where it's untenable with
Okay.
cable.
And so, yeah, so what Joel's talking about too is consumer versus business. And consumer, as long as you can get your Netflix, everyone's happy, you know, but again, the upstream isn't as fast.
Oh, I get it.
And so, but again, most people don't send a lot upstream. You know, whereas for business, you need that. You need this called,
Looking down the road.
symmetrical, it's a symmetrical circuit is what they call it. And what they mean is that both your upstream and your downstream
Right.
are equal. It's symmetrical.
This will be, the question is how long it will take,
Right.
you know.
And where it will go, because of course, as we're pointing out, if that is a function or is aimed primarily at a business environment, and we don't have a business environment, the question then says, if we have cable, will business come? Is that your question? We don't know.
No,
the
I
answer.
know one person in town who does a lot of telecommunicating, and he managed to get into the fiber optics.
Already?
Yes.
How?
If I knew, I probably wouldn't be allowed to tell you, but I don't know.
Well, I guess the
I
question
mean,
is.
I have something called VDSL, and it's copper, but you know, I know that it gets back to the NOC here, the consolidated NOC in town, and I'm very close to that. And that's why I get 60-25 or something like that, or 60-15, which is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and I can get, sometimes I get that speed, but I do get 25 up, which isn't bad. And I'm an
that's-
IT guy,
that's
so I
for
want
business.
that.
It's not for
Yeah.
sending a birthday greeting, that's for sending a contract.
Right, and I do things when I'm, you know, at work, I can get into my work fairly easily and when I need to, so.
I think
Yes,
it's,
it would bring people here who are interested in business.
Yeah, anecdotally, I've talked with a lot of people who have said, we don't, Vermont, that's terrible, I don't move my business there because of that internet. I haven't experienced that, but I've always lived in the corridor here for 30, so that's why I don't have to worry about that last mile.
well, I think it makes total sense that we support it. I'll volunteer to draft a letter on behalf of the board to send to whoever the parties may be and,
Call Sue Wistek when they're in June.
okay, yeah, and I'll touch base with you if I don't remember that after the meetings.
Sure.
I mean, I think it's huge. I mean, it's a no-cost thing for us, and it could really have some significant impact. It's
Yeah,
cheaper
because I don't think they're asking to push Southern Vermont cable.
No,
That's not what I meant.
All they're asking is that the town supports this kind of progress.
I
That's
mean, there's a
all.
lot of room for the multiple players out there in
Sure.
this field. I mean,
All right, thank you very much. Yes,
I
ma'am.
just had two little bits. One, we had a successful Jamaica Old Home Day.
Yes, we
Thanks
did.
to a lot
Thank you
of
very much.
volunteers in town.
By the way, please introduce yourself,
Karen Amden.
just for the record.
And we have another one planned for the second Saturday next year of September. The other thing is we have a haunted house going on in the town hall this weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 4 to 7. If you would like to be a ghoul or a witch or anything, please volunteer. Tomorrow, tomorrow's,
Where's the water?
yes. So the next day, Wednesday, we're going to be starting to work on the town hall. But I'm wondering if we can get in tomorrow morning and just pack things into the back up on the stage.
Could I ask what you're from the
Haunted mazes and games and activities for kids of all ages.
Because no one's come to me.
You would like to come and,
No, I think that I needed to know.
oh, okay. Well, we contacted the town and set it up on the calendar.
Okay. You have keys and everything to get in?
It's
Through
a
the Arts
Jamaica
Council.
Community Arts Council project.
We're going over sometime tomorrow to set up for tomorrow night, but we won't be there in the morning, will we?
So we were just wanting to put some totes up on the backstage, so just so you know.
I usually find out those kinds of things, you let me know, so it's important that I have an idea of what's going on all the time. So in the future, if you could.
Sure. I mean, it was on our schedule, it's been on our schedule.
Yeah, but I don't have your schedule,
Okay.
so.
Okay. I just assumed that you get that information from the town and on the calendar.
Okay. We can fix that.
Okay, and we can too.
Like I said, we'll be over there tomorrow. Do you have a key to get in the morning?
We have Tom's Jamaica
Oh.
Community Arts Council.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And once again, thanks for that home days thing. It went well.
It was good.
Yes, any other public concerns? All right, I would like to go into executive session.
Here, hold on, I can read it off.
Yes, I've got to reach for mine to read it, yes.
All right, let's see if I can get this right.
I don't think it's written right.
It is, I move to find premature general knowledge of
Personnel.
this personnel issue would clearly place said personnel at substantial disadvantage because the select board would potentially get information if it discusses said issue in public. I move.
Second?
You can second?
Second.
You got a second?
Therefore, I move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and those, go ahead.
I move that we enter into executive session to discuss said personnel issue under provisions of Title I, Section 313A1A of the Vermont statutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll go into executive session. It's now 8:15.
Adjourn, do we have to do anything else?
No, do we have a second?
Do we have to
I'll
come?
second.
We're out.
Come on, executive
You want to call it 53?
session. 52 it was.
52 it was, we're back on, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
We're back on.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn, I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
I have two, any further discussion? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your service.